5 compliments women secretly crave, but never hear from most men. There's an unspoken truth that women don't melt from empty compliments. She's heard "you're beautiful" 100 times, but very few have ever truly seen her. Not her skin, not her shape, not her hair, but the parts she hides and quietly hopes someone might notice. In this video, I'll share 5 compliments that make a woman pause inside, not because they're fancy, but because they're real and rare. Listen closely. Don't skip a single word, because the man who knows how to say these won't be forgotten. Part 1. I see your strength and your softness. Let me tell you something most people miss, especially in a world that's always rushing to label everything. See, society has been telling women for decades, if you want to be respected, be strong. If you want to be loved, be soft. But rarely does anyone say, you can be both. And here's the truth. Most women are both, but they rarely feel safe enough to show it. So when you look her in the eye and say, I see how strong you are, and I love that you've kept your softness too, something shifts. You're not just complimenting her looks, you're honoring her whole being. Because behind that calm confidence, behind the way she holds herself together when the world gets messy, there's a gentleness she doesn't share with everyone, maybe not even with herself sometimes. And when you acknowledge that balance, the power and the vulnerability, the grace and the grit, you're giving her something rare, permission to be whole. She no longer has to split herself in half to be accepted. She doesn't need to toughen up to be respected, or shrink herself to be cherished. You're saying, I see all of you, and I don't need you to choose. And that kind of presence is what makes a man unforgettable. Because when a woman feels seen for both her strength and her softness, she doesn't just hear your words, she feels safe. And trust me, that kind of safety is what opens doors no charm ever could. Part 2. I feel peaceful when I'm with you. You know, we don't say this enough as men. We're taught to admire beauty, to chase excitement, to seek desire. But peace? That's something you don't even know you're missing until you finally feel it in her presence. And when you tell a woman, I feel peaceful when I'm with you, you're giving her one of the most unexpected and powerful compliments she's ever heard. Because here's what most men never realize. Women often carry the emotional weight of every room they're in. They tune in, hold space, adjust their energy so that others feel safe, heard, steady. But hardly anyone ever turns around and says, hey, thank you for how you make the space feel. So when you tell her you feel calm, grounded, even more yourself when she's near, you're not just praising her presence, you're honoring her essence, not for what she does, not for how she looks, but for who she is underneath it all. And something beautiful happens in that moment. She exhales, she softens, she feels seen without needing to perform, because now she doesn't have to be dazzling. She doesn't have to entertain you. She can just be. And you can just be too. That's the quiet power of real connection, where both of you can finally stop pretending and simply feel at home. Part 3. I admire how you carry yourself when no one's watching. Most people notice a woman when she's dressed up, when she walks into a room, all eyes on her. But real admiration, it happens when no one's looking except you. You see, there's something deeply attractive about a woman's quiet strength. Not when she's trying to impress, but when she's just being herself. Maybe it's how she speaks to the barista, kind, warm, without needing praise. Maybe it's how she handles stress, not perfectly, but with grace. Maybe it's how she picks up after others, not because she has to, but because she cares. That's when you say, I admire how you carry yourself when no one's watching. And that stops her in her tracks, because you're not just seeing the surface. You're witnessing the woman she is when the world isn't watching, when she doesn't have her makeup on, when she's tired, messy, vulnerable, real. And by speaking that out loud, you're saying, you don't need a spotlight to matter to me. You already shine. That kind of recognition is rare. Not flattery, not empty praise, but respect. And for a woman who's spent her life being noticed for how she looks, this kind of compliment, It goes deeper. It says, I see your character, not just your charm. And when a woman feels truly seen like that, she doesn't forget it. Not for a long, long time. Part 4. You inspire me to be a better man. There are compliments that flatter, and then there are words that elevate. Not just the person receiving them, but the one saying them too. When you look a woman in the eyes and say, you inspire me to be a better man, you're not just complimenting her beauty, her intelligence, or her vibe. You're honoring the way she moves you. Because here's the truth, especially for us as we get older. Real connection doesn't make you lose yourself. It reminds you who you are and calls you to rise without force. Maybe it's the way she holds herself, with quiet dignity. Maybe it's how she speaks truth, even when it's hard. Maybe it's just the way she believes in you, not as some project to fix, but as a man she already sees greatness in. And that belief, it lights something up inside you. Not pressure, but possibility. You start showing up more intentionally, speaking more clearly, choosing strength with softness, not to win her, but because you want to deserve the version of you she already sees. And when you tell her that, you make me want to be better, not for you, but because of you. You give her something rare. The knowledge that her presence isn't just attractive, it's transformative. And for a woman who's tired of being appreciated only for what she gives, this tells her something deeper. That just by being herself, she's already changing the world, one man at a time. Part 5. I love how you listen without rushing to react. In today's world, everyone seems to be talking, louder, faster, trying to win every conversation like it's a competition. But then, there's her. She doesn't interrupt. She doesn't rush to fix. She simply listens. And not the kind of listening that's waiting to reply. No, she listens with her whole body, with patience, with presence, like your words actually matter. That's rare. And when you look at her and say, I love how you listen, without rushing to react, you're acknowledging something sacred. Because deep down, every man wants to feel understood, not judged, not corrected, just heard. And when she gives you that kind of space, the kind where your guard drops, where you don't need to explain yourself 3 different ways, where silence doesn't feel empty, but safe, that's when something shifts. It's no longer just a conversation, it's a connection. And here's the beautiful part. When you see her for that, when you call it out, you're not just praising a habit, you're honoring her essence. You're telling her, your calm is powerful, your quiet is healing, and your way of being brings out the parts of me I usually keep hidden. In a world addicted to noise, a woman who truly listens is a gift. And a man who sees that, he doesn't just win her heart, he earns her respect. It's not about flattery, it's about truth. At the end of the day, this isn't about sweet-talking women. It's not about learning clever lines or trying to impress. It's about learning to see the parts of her that the world overlooks, to name the things she doesn't even realize she longs to be recognized for. Because when a man speaks with presence, when he honors not just her looks, but her essence, her effort, her stillness, her strength, she feels it, not in her ears, but in her nervous system, in the way her shoulders soften, in how her guard begins to melt. In that small moment she stops performing, and just is. And you become the kind of man this world desperately needs more of. Not louder, not smoother, but clearer, grounded, capable of love without losing yourself. So next time you look into her eyes, don't try to impress her. Tell her something true. Let her know what you see, what you feel, and who you become when she's around. Because the right words, spoken with honesty, don't just create attraction. They build trust. They open hearts. They remind both of you, this isn't about performance. It's about presence.